We're winging.
We're winging it.
Winging it.
So we have a special guest today.
We do.
And we're very excited to...
well, should we introduce ourselves?
Well...
Or do you want to do your special guest
we'll do
first?
our welcome first.
Okay.
Or maybe we should do ourselves first. What do you think?
I think ourselves.
Ourselves?
Mhm.
Okay. I'm Candace.
I'm Natalia.
And this is Not a Single Fork, just another podcast about food and cooking, but we're keeping it real.
Real.
And real today includes our guest, Chef Anthony Santos.
Here he is.
Here he is. He has a wonderful food truck known as Manila Ice.
You see his shirt?
See his shirt?
Yeah, look at that merch.
Yeah, and as you might guess, I hope that you could guess, he specializes in Filipino American cuisine, not just food, cuisine. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you guys for having me over. I'm really excited.
We haven't seen you in a while. We used to see you all the time.
Yeah.
I know.
I was going to say we've known Anthony forever, but he's so much younger than we are. It
just
maybe
feels that
forever
way.
for him.
It just feels that way because we got along with him right away. Like as soon as we met him, and so do you want to tell everybody how we met him? We kind of talked about it in the last podcast, but
Well, I think we met you in the Raw.
Yeah.
Was that the first time?
But
Yeah.
there's another connection.
Well, that goes back even farther to high school.
Yes.
Not my high school, mind you. Well, actually, it was my high school, but Anthony went to high school with my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your wife.
Yeah, my wife is actually Marin's
In Mary's
classmate.
class.
Classmate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the circle of life.
It is.
Yeah, but we met Anthony in the Raw, which is a sushi restaurant here in town, and he was the executive chef and was making all kinds of interesting food there that
And would make us food.
Sadly, we can't get now.
Yeah. It's not as good with you gone.
No, it definitely is not.
Not.
I'm gonna, if you'll pull up just a little bit, because I want to make sure nobody misses anything you say.
Of course.
Okay, so that's how. So how do you remember us?
Well, like you guys said,
Side of the story.
He may have a different story.
well, I recognized you from before with being Marin's mom. Like that.
You did?
Yeah.
Right away? Okay.
But I guess like the very first interaction that I can remember was at In the Raw, and you guys were talking to our bartender at the time, Janessa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just having a great time, and I was like, they look like fun. I should go over there and say hi. Being executive chef and everything. I was like, I'm not needed back here right now.
Yeah.
When I was looking to see what's up, and then whenever I realized that you guys had the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
the Girl Can Cook studio over there, I was like, I think you'd appreciate it if I did something different off menu.
Yeah, we did.
Oh
my
yes.
God, every time.
Do you remember what you cooked that first time?
Probably it was our new style sashimis, and I don't remember if I did.
I don't think you didn't do, because the adobo chicken wings are legend.
Yeah.
Those are legend, but I don't think you did those for us.
I don't think so.
Not the first time.
Not the
I
first
only started
time.
branching out with the Filipino influenced food later on.
Well, yeah, because then you had the banana hot sauce? No. Banana sauce?
ketchup.
Banana
banana
ketchup.
Banana ketchup.
What's
yeah.
banana ketchup?
So banana ketchup is our version of ketchup in the Philippines. Tomatoes aren't nearly as abundant as bananas are, and actually the history behind that is there was a food scientist in the Philippines that saw that we had shortages of ketchup for the military back then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So in order to appease
So they
that,
supplemented with bananas?
we substituted.
Oh, substitute.
Yeah. So
But what color is it?
it's traditionally bright red because of food coloring. Otherwise, it is not. It's more.
But I didn't think it tasted like bananas. It's
No.
not sweet.
Not usually, but I made you the banana ketchup from scratch, so
Okay.
it's not gonna.
What did you make it? What did you make it to go with? Because it was something like that. Because
Yeah.
that was one of the first ones I was like, what is banana ketchup?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
It was really good.
Okay, so before we get too far afield, we want to make sure that Anthony has a chance to tell you his story. So I'm going to give you the floor and just wherever you'd like to start, if you want to, because I know one of the interesting things that we've talked about is that you don't know exactly when your birthday is.
That is a problem that I have every year that I have to file my taxes.
Okay, so why is that?
I don't have a copy of my birth certificate, and my mother swears that my birthday is a certain date. But every time I have to file taxes, that date will not allow me to file them.
So
So
you were born in the Philippines.
I was born here.
You were born here.
That's why it's so crazy.
But your parents are both Filipino.
Yes, they're both from the Philippines.
Okay. And so I don't understand, if you were born here, why is there no record of you?
I guess the hospital had an issue with their data.
Oh, it was just a weird glitch.
Yeah, there was a glitch, and so we couldn't find the birth certificate. That's the original. We have the copies. It's no problem, but the original is not there. And so
you may not really even be here right now.
Yeah,
You
like,
might
I
not.
might
You're
not
not
even
even
be
real.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a glitch in
So
the
it's really
system.
not real.
It's the Matrix.
Yeah.
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
But that is that was the confusion there, and so that was one of the things that I was like, well, I guess I can just do whatever now.
So what's the discrepancy of dates? Is it like a couple days? Is it like a month? Is it
It's
like
A year.
a
4 years and 4 days.
Oh shit, 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
So Anthony has no idea how old he is.
Yeah.
But I will say he is older than he appears, because I remember when we first met him, we were talking to him, and I was like, "Oh my god, look at this kid!" And I was like, "What is he like in his 20s?" Because he looks. But that's the joy of being Filipino too. Is you're gonna look this way until you're like 80.
We have this nice skin.
Yeah, so lucky you.
Yeah.
That
But-
comes from all the rice we make. All the steam that comes out
The
of
steam-
it.
facials, the rice facials. But that being said, because you're going to hear Anthony's going to talk about his story, and we learned this like over time, seeing him and talking to him, and I was like, how did he do that? Was he 12? Like, I was like, wait a minute, how that doesn't make any sense. So that being said, are your parents in food? Your parents are not in food.
No, they're not. Actually, my
Okay.
parents own an automotive repair shop. So
Okay.
like, I should have been a mechanic.
Are you a mechanic? Do you know how to do that stuff
Well,
too?
Fortunately,
Are
I
you
do.
well-rounded?
I am.
Yes. All right. So he can cook you a meal and fix your car. It's like a one-stop shop.
Well, that's why I drive a food truck, guys.
That's right. You can
Yeah.
fix it on the go.
I have to sometimes.
So yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
I know,
sure.
that's how it goes.
So what started your food journey?
I guess initially it was just hanging out in the kitchen with my Lola, which is my grandma.
Okay.
And
Did she live here as well?
she visited from the Philippines.
Okay.
I had both my grandmothers came over from the Philippines to help watch us when we were growing up.
Mhm.
So a lot of it was just watching her do stuff. I mean, when they were living here, they yearned for the Philippines.
Right.
The cuisine here is very different. I mean, you can only eat so much fried chicken before you're like,
Before you're 500 pounds and die.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I want some Filipino food or something to remind me of home.
So did she allow you to help, or did you have to just watch?
She made me do things.
Okay.
Yeah, so
whether you wanted to
became,
or not.
I became a commis chef right away.
Okay.
Like immediately, hey, I need you to cut these. I need you to go peel that. Let's do this.
So did your parents cook?
Not really.
No. So it was just your.
So it was my
Grandmother.
grandmothers that would help us out.
Okay, so what were their favorite things to cook?
I don't know what their favorites were. to
What
cook.
were your
my
favorites?
favorite things
Yeah.
to eat?
Yeah.
My one grandmother, she used to make adobo with coconut milk. And
All
that
right.
was my favorite thing that she
Wait,
made.
you've made that for us.
I had.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
The adobo coconut milk, or it's a tie up because she also makes Filipino spaghetti, which is like,
Okay, now what is
Yeah,
that?
What is that?
okay. So Filipino spaghetti is more like it's, American spaghetti. It has like a savory tomato sauce,
Uh-huh.
bolognese of sorts. Well, hers was a bolognese with a condensed milk cheese sauce. And then she would cook it like
That's condensed milk is sweet.
sweet. Yeah. So it's sweetened
Okay.
and it's banana ketchup based. So there's banana ketchup, condensed milk. And then she would throw our version of Velveeta cheese.
Okay.
In the Philippines, it's called Edam cheese. She would put that on top with hot dogs.
Is Edam Edam? EDAM?
Yes.
Okay. I know what that cheese is.
Yeah.
And then wait. What was that last bit? Hot
Hot
dogs?
dogs,
Just
yeah.
throw a couple hot dogs on top?
Well, we have, yes. You just got to eat it with hot dogs. So
So what is it, sweet?
it is sweet and
Okay.
it is
Cheesy.
Cheesy. Very sweet and cheesy.
Okay. And so that was
And
your
noodles. Just
And
Pasta.
spaghetti
spaghetti,
noodles.
spaghetti
Yeah.
noodles.
So
Okay.
those were my two favorite things that she did. And so I've actually done both of those things on the truck as well.
favorite. And how do people like them?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they love them because we sell out every time.
Okay.
Well,
So,
there
yeah.
you go. That
And it's
speaks for itself.
Filipino spaghetti with hot dogs? Do you call it that?
It's called Nana spaghetti.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Nana
Oh,
spaghetti.
that's cute.
And then what's the other one called?
It's adobo.
It's
So
just
it's
a-
our
okay.
like blackberry adobo. I've tweaked it a little bit to be more me,
Mhm.
but it's influenced by that.
And so when you say adobo, is that like chicken? Is that like
Well, her adobo is chicken.
Okay.
But we throw them on our wings. So we talked about our wings
Right.
earlier. That's what we put it on.
so that's what you do on the food truck?
That's what we do on the truck.
Okay. So she would come over and visit. You would sous chef. Just like
Yeah.
your parents would be at work. You'd be at work
Yeah.
ultimately in the
Pretty
kitchen.
much. Yeah.
And then she'd go home and you'd be like, did you then cook for your parents?
sometimes if I don't have the means to buy my own food.
Right. You're a
So I'm
child.
like, Mom,
Yes.
can you buy these things for
Yeah.
us? We'll make it. Or could you make it? And she'd be like, well, we'll get the things. And if you remember how you can make it.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of, I know this is like full circle, but like, where do you have to shop somewhere special for your food?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. And where is that?
A lot of it is imported. Like I have to use an importer.
Oh,
to
okay.
bring
You have to
stuff
like
in.
order stuff.
So we have to order it online. They'll
Okay.
deliver. But
So you can't really find it like in the international markets.
You kind of can. Like Pan Asia, who they just
Yeah,
opened
yeah.
in
Yeah,
town. They
yeah.
actually have a lot of the stuff.
I like
used
that
to-
store.
I like
Long
that store
They're very
too.
good.
Yeah. I wish it was a little closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
It's
cleaner.
nice.
It's cleaner.
Very
Yes,
clean.
nice and clean.
It's a very nice store.
Yeah. That's one of the like things that have really helped me out this year is when they open. Now I
Mhm.
have more. I don't have to spend nearly as much on shipment.
Shipping and
Yeah.
getting stuff
Oh,
in.
good.
You
Yeah.
can run
You just
there,
get
or if
stuff
you run
in.
out of something, you can
Right.
run there and grab it.
Okay, so so that's your first, your entrance into food. Then what happened?
Well, I'm Filipino, and my mom obviously wants the best for us. So she was like, "Go into the medical field," and
That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
So I went to school and tried to do that, and that did not go well.
Did you finish school?
I finished high school,
Okay.
and then after high school, I did a couple years at college before I was like
Doing
can't-
medical stuff.
doing medical,
You were
like
like,
pre-med things like
Mhm.
that, and I just did not enjoy those.
Mhm.
So I went to culinary school,
and how did your parents feel about that?
not great.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So culinary school,
And
They-
which school did you go to?
Flat College in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City.
So my mom was just like, "You're just gonna struggle for the rest of your life.
Like, you're not going to make any
Yeah,
money.
like, you
Yeah.
should have
What are
been
you
a doctor.
doing? Yeah.
But
That's
you
okay.
know,
My mom
like,
did the same thing.
you follow passion, not
Yeah.
like I've been afforded this life because of how hard they work.
Right.
So now I can choose to do what I'm passionate about, which
Right.
is cooking and culture.
And you knew that as a child?
Well, I didn't know that I was going to be a chef, but I knew that like I wanted to do something within like an artistic direction.
Okay.
I wanted to do something that I use my hands.
hmm
So
Like
Uh,
a mechanic.
maybe a mechanic. My being around that all the time though, I just didn't love that as much.
Mhm.
But whenever I would make food
Mhm.
as a child, when people praise you for things that you're good at, you
Mhm.
think I should probably do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was good at that.
So you went to culinary school at like, what, 18? No. How old were you then?
20?
20-ish?
I was-
19?
He doesn't know how old he was.
Ish. I said ish.
Well, according to my government
Between
age,
the age of 17 and 25, he went to culinary school.
my government age, I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So,
So how long did you do culinary school? How long is culinary school?
well, I went through the fast track, so I did that for a year and a half
Okay.
or 2 years supposedly.
Mhm.
But the last 6 months, they send you on an externship program or internship program where you can intern at any place.
Okay.
And I felt like my culinary education was a little bit lacking at that point, so I wanted to go to the most bougie place that I could get into, and I ended up in India.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you meant they put you in like a restaurant in Oklahoma City.
Well, they tried to. yeah.
Okay.
But,
and you said, no, thank you. I'd like to go to India.
I'd like to go somewhere.
And they sent you there? You had to pay for that.
I had to make the arrangements to go there.
But they have
But
the contact?
The school. It wasn't the school's contact. It was mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So you knew someone in India.
my uncle is actually he was at the time the COO of the Taj Mahal Hotel Groups.
Wow. Look at
okay.
you.
All right.
So I was really lucky on that end. But his thing was like, I will get you in. I don't want anybody to know that you are at all in any way related to
Yeah.
me.
I've done those
Because
jobs
if you're good,
Yeah.
great, good for you. But I don't want them to know that.
Right,
And
right.
If you're bad, good for me.
Right.
Because
Right.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he got me in for like an externship program there
At a hotel.
at a hotel. So
Yeah.
I was working at the Taj Mahal Hotel Groups.
And now, is that a pretty pricey hotel?
I mean, I think that they're like diamond now.
Okay.
They used to do stars back then, so they were like a 5-star.
So they were bougie
They were
hotel.
bougie,
They're
yeah.
the
Okay.
bougiest, yeah.
And so at 15, you
Or-
go to
or something.
15 to 25, you go to India
Right.
by yourself.
I do.
Did your uncle pick you up from the airport, or is it
No.
just like a good
No,
luck?
it's just
Okay.
like, it's like they slapped on a
Mhm.
rupee on my shirt and said, "Go for it."
Just go for it.
Yeah.
So you got the job there. What was your job? What did you do?
You start at the bottom,
Which
so
means,
I am an unpaid extern
okay,
who lives on site and works the commissary.
what does that mean?
That means I prep onions and vegetables all day
Okay.
for the rest of the hotel.
But you live in a bougie hotel room?
No, it's the
Okay.
barracks downstairs. Yeah, so I share a bunk with another guy,
Okay.
and we just chill for. If I'm not working, I'm down there, and I don't really.
Can you leave the hotel?
You can if
Okay.
you want to, but you have to report for when you have to report.
Mhm.
You know, so
So how long did you do that?
6 months.
Did you like that?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I
Did
learned
you
a
meet
lot.
some new friends? Did you?
I mean, you make anytime you go anywhere working in this industry,
Mhm.
you can make friends right away because you guys are all going through hell yourselves
Right.
together. So,
Yeah.
So you meet a lot of guys there and ladies as well that just like are going through it, and you want to be able to work on their team with them. If you don't have that kind of camaraderie, your day sucks.
How big was that team? Like you're prepping veggies and onions and the shit that nobody else wants to do. How many of you guys are there doing
In
that?
that kitchen alone, there was 60 of us, I think.
60.
60.
Yeah.
And does that include the executive chef?
Oh no, that's just the commissary.
That's just the commissary.
Yeah, no.
Oh, damn.
So that's just prep cooks.
That's just prep cooks.
Okay.
Yeah, a whole bunch of just prep guys. And then you have to remember that there are a lot of like different like departments in all of the places.
Mhm.
So working in the prep and the commissary, then there's the butchery that deals with all the meat. Then there's the bakery that deals with all the bread. Then they have a place that does only pastry, which is garde manger.
Mm.
They have an ice decorating like department where they
Bougie.
it was the coolest. They had guys with chainsaws. And
Did you go watch it? Did you do it?
That
Did
rotation
you?
for a little bit.
Yeah.
it's cool.
Okay, so did you rotate through everything?
I started off in commissary, then I went into butchery, then main kitchen. Then I got to do a rotation in the ice sculpting,
Mhm.
and then I got. They had a sushi restaurant on site, and I had some sushi background already at that point. So
How did you already have sushi background at 15?
while I was going to culinary school, there was a sushi restaurant next door.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was working
Okay.
simultaneously while
Okay.
going to school.
So how was the ice sculpting?
That was cool.
Was that cool?
So if
Very
we
cool.
need an ice sculpture,
On the fly.
you're the
Maybe,
guy.
yeah.
Can you make us can you make your logo?
I can make my logo.
Yes. That's what we need to do.
So, I mean, the equipment and the level of planning that has to go into it's crazy.
I bet.
Yeah. 'cause
Harder
like,
than it looks.
It's a lot tougher than it
Yeah.
looks because
Yeah.
you have to use a
I know.
chainsaw to get the
You
base
have to manipulate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a
And-
heavy piece of machinery.
Yeah, and then once you get past the chainsaw, then we get into like this
Picking?
ice pick.
Ice picking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lobotomy?
And you have to do it in the freezer.
We do, yeah,
Yeah.
actually. So we had a huge walk-in freezer the size of a garage that we'd have to work in.
So when you rotate, like how long did you do that?
I did commissary for like 2 months, and then they moved me into butchery for like 6
6 months?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's where they needed help.
I
most,
see.
I think.
And then you do like
And
2
then
months here.
I was doing like a month here and everywhere else,
Mhm.
and then because I was an extern, they were like, "We'll put you wherever you want to learn
So you didn't get paid at all for the entire time that you were there,
as an extern."
but you got room and board.
But I got room
basically.
and board. They fed me every day.
Uh-huh.
I had fresh fresh uniform every day
Mhm.
because the hotel is different like that. It's not like you have your own uniform you're responsible for. They
Mhm.
have a laundry service,
Right.
downstairs.
Right.
So you just take your aprons and your uniforms off, and they give you a toque every day.
Mhm.
Like we were looking like
Good.
brigade,
Yeah.
fancy, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, it's very different. But
Like I don't know if you could do that now.
I don't
You know?
think so. no.
It just everything's changed and so different. I know obviously India is different, but I just feel like that's a opportunity that maybe you can't just like seek out that, and like you happened upon that, and that was really cool.
that was
So your whole stay in India was how long?
it was close to a year, like 9 months,
A year.
Yeah.
So you stayed at the hotel the whole
the
time.
whole time.
And then what happened after your year was up? You were like,
my visa ran out.
Okay.
So like you have to have a visa,
Mhm.
like a student or working
or work
visa.
visa.
Yeah, to be there, and they only allot you so much time before you have to pay some more.
Mhm.
I ran out. My visa ran out first, so I tried to pay a little bit to extend my time. But after so much, it compounds, so it gets more expensive
Right.
as you extend. So I was like, well, I got to figure something out. My extern's over. Where else am I going to go? I don't want to go back to America. I want to keep learning.
Okay.
So I ended up in the next spot was Japan.
So you went from India to Japan.
Yes.
Are your parents funding this?
I was able to save up beforehand.
Okay.
But,
Because I'm like, they don't support you and they're sending you all over the place.
My parents were just upset that I was gone for so long.
Oh, I
really.
bet they missed
Yeah.
you. They missed their little baby.
I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
But
Of course.
at the time, I was trying to rebel a little bit.
Yeah,
I want to do
I
my
mean-
stuff. So
So Japan, did you know anyone in Japan?
actually, my godfather lives in Japan. That's why
Okay,
I-
so you had a connection there.
Yeah. So
So you go to Japan. Does he set you up with a job?
he actually knew a guy that ran a soba restaurant.
Okay, which
And-
means
Soba is a kind of noodle that they do in Japan.
Okay.
I mean, they have udon, they have soba, they have ramen, right? Everybody's familiar with ramen
Mhm.
because of its global reach.
Right.
But soba is a buckwheat noodle. So he was like, that's what he did. I specialize in soba noodles. That's what I do. And so I was like, all right, cool. I want to work there. I'm like, whatever. I have sushi that could be similar,
Yeah.
translate. And when I got there, it wasn't the best restaurant.
Like it was like a little
like,
shitty hole. in the wall.
I'd come from a hotel.
Well, you came from
Yeah.
everything was
So
there,
everything is
one stop
there.
shop. Yeah.
It's all there. And when I got there, he's just like not what I envision a chef to be. He was just kind of whatever, and that's not.
Was it
what
a little like local restaurant kind of thing?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think he was going through some like really hard life or
Mhm.
something because like he just didn't care about like receiving orders, and
Mhm.
his kitchen was a mess, and
Mhm.
not with trash and anything.
Right. But there's a lot of
But
kitchens
there's
like
like
that.
that.
There's a lot of
It
restaurants like
happens.
that.
He just
It's because it's super hard work, and you get to a
Right.
point where you're just like, fucking exhausted.
Yeah,
And that sounds like that's kind of where he was.
so maybe he was just super exhausted.
Yeah.
But, like I lasted maybe a week there.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
Did you learn how to make the soba noodles?
Oh yeah, I
in
learned
that
how to, like
time?
I watched him and I learned
Okay.
certain things, but I was just like, man, I don't think this is for me.
So then where did we go?
So I went looking for a sushi restaurant, and so I asked my godfather. I was like, what's a good
Are you staying with your godfather at the time?
at the time?
Okay.
What's a good place to learn sushi? And he goes, you can't just get into sushi like that.
Not in Japan.
Like you gotta figure it out. Like
Yeah.
you can't just walk in, fill out an application, and be like, I want to be a sushi chef.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do sushi.
No, they don't do that. So I
Hi, I'm from America. I'd like to make sushi.
that's another thing too, is that like I'm not Japanese,
Yeah.
so I'm coming in like thinking I can just do this. Like,
Right.
The chefs were like, let me talk to somebody about this.
Yeah.
So I walked into a restaurant that's like it's like in a train station,
Okay.
but it's a very nice sushi restaurant, like omakase style,
Mhm.
16 course, things like that.
What is omakase style? Is
So
that
omakase means chef's choice.
okay?
So a chef gets to make you whatever he wants to.
So
but
there's no menu.
there's no menu.
You just come in, sit
He
down.
just tells you what fish he has fresh the day of, and you eat what he wants to make you.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so-
that would not fly here.
And sushi in Japan is what we consider nigiri.
Okay,
So, like,
yeah.
it's fish on rice.
Okay.
And so there's like 16 of those
Mhm.
that he gives you that you eat within a certain time span. Then your lunch or dinner's over. That's that. That's
You have a certain time span to eat your food.
I think that like if you're coming in for like the
No more food for you.
10 minutes is up. Get the fuck down.
well, a lot of it's dictated by the chef's speed. So like he'll
Right.
feed you and then you eat it, and then he'll get the next one ready and feed you,
Uh-huh.
and then you eat it,
Uh-huh.
and then his speed is your speed
Uh-huh.
because you got to eat as he's giving it to
Uh-huh.
you. You can't just linger around. So you eat.
No messing
No
around.
leisurely lunch at the train station.
No, not usually.
No.
And I mean, the dinner's a little bit more leisurely, I
Uh-huh.
guess. But even still, like the place that I ended up working, they don't do like alcohol.
Okay.
It's like you get your sushi, you get water or tea, and that's it.
So so you got into this restaurant?
I did.
How did this happen?
I worked for free for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so I said I'd clean and bus and give drinks out for the first 6 months.
For them to teach you.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you're willing to work.
Right.
If you can
Yeah.
show me you'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
So for 6 months, you didn't get paid, and you cleaned and you bussed and you took people water or tea.
Yeah.
And only. And in 5 minutes, because they got to get out. And then what happened?
After that, they were like, okay, you work hard. Let's see if you can pass the test. They give you a really hot towel you got to wring out.
Okay.
And if you wring it out without like freaking out, then they'll be like, okay, come on, let's go.
Shut up. That's your test?
Yeah, that's your
No.
Yeah.
That's like a movie.
test. Yeah. Well, it's just because like you have to have like strong hands.
Right.
So if you're going to be a baby about temperature and things
Yeah.
like that, I guess that was
be
the
a
test.
baby.
And
I love
so
this.
like that first,
I'm just going to start throwing hot towels at people and see what happens. You're a pussy. I can't deal with you.
yeah, exactly. So
So they let you, so you did that. And so then they trained you to make sushi.
you have levels. Like
Okay,
the
so
apprentices that you work with, they don't let you just do everything from the beginning. You can't be like, yeah, let's cut the tuna today.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
they
no.
don't do that. So I got put on rice duty, which is the most important. I didn't know this, but the rice is the most important thing you can do in a sushi restaurant
Why is that?
because it changes the complexity of everything. If your rice is bad, your fish is bad.
Okay.
And so you can't have it like it's the balance. Because if you can have sashimi, you can have nigiri, but your sashimi is no good as a nigiri if your rice is bad.
Like if your rice is overcooked or
Your
if
rice
it's
is
like
overcooked
crunchy
or it's crunchy. Yeah, if it's
mushy
not,
or it's
if
not
it's
the
not
right
the perfect
texture.
tenderness or texture,
Okay.
then we'll have issues.
So what does rice duty look like for you? Are you making like a little crock pot of rice?
I mean, because I'm learning, when
Mhm.
they're testing me out, I make one small batch.
Okay.
So like a small batch is maybe like 2 quarts of uncooked rice.
Okay.
So
Specific rice?
yes, they like obviously they have a very specific rice that they use, very expensive.
Mhm.
So it's one of those kind of rice where you have to pressure cook it.
Okay.
Otherwise it won't cook properly all the
Mhm.
way through. Like
Mhm.
it's like koshikari or something like that, but it's like a very short grain, specifically sushi rice.
Mhm.
And so like I'd come in that morning, I'd make the rice, and then we would find out if I did a good job.
Mhm. And then what would happen if you didn't do a good job?
Well,
You'd make more rice?
so like our sensei chef would just come by, and he's not a man of many words, not angry. He's like opposite of Gordon Ramsay, very calm, just there, right? And so if he comes up, he'll look at your rice, and if he looks at it, and if it's wrong, he'll just walk off,
Mhm.
won't say anything, and then that's it.
And if it's right, what will you say?
If it's right, which was months later for me, like if it's correct, he'll be like, "Good, that's how it's supposed to be." And then
Okay.
he'll walk
Okay.
off.
So
in Japanese.
In Japanese, of course,
did you speak or understand Japanese?
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Before you got there?
before I got there, I spoke a little bit,
Okay.
and then once I got there, after a couple months, I got a working knowledge of Japanese.
Sure. So if you screwed up your rice, did you just spend the whole day making rice again?
Yeah, you'd have to redo it.
Okay.
And so
And then
like
you
I
come
would
check it again.
So I was given 2 chances a day to do it, like once, and then if I messed up,
And what happens if you mess up the second time? Do you go home?
no, I have to do other things.
Oh, okay.
So like
You
I gotta
clean
like,
the toilet.
yeah, like go prep
Okay.
other things, help them with like it's all the difficult work, like work vegetable things
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
And then after it took maybe 3 months before I
To
got
get
it
good rice.
and then I got put on rice duty, so I got to
Okay.
make a big batch of rice,
And how big is a big batch?
like 6 quarts.
Okay.
It's not big.
And so how long did you do that?
It's still a lot of rice.
It's still a lot of rice, but it's not a lot. I did that for a little bit, like another couple months before they moved me on to small fish.
Okay, so that's the next step.
Yeah, so then I moved on to small fish, which is and like you don't realize the intense, like intricate work that you have with dealing with like kohada or gizzard shad, stuff like that. Anchovies, man, you have to like debone an anchovy.
Oh my god, did you have
Oh
to
my
have
God.
did you have to have like binoculars, like those doctor spectacles? I'd be
Microscope.
be like
Binoculars.
Binoculars.
You know, like microscopes.
Just like, yeah.
I just had one of those glasses.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but actually, no, we just had to do it and
Do it by feel,
yeah,
kind
by
of.
feel.
Mhm.
So you just try to like, and it's fairly easy
An
because you just cut
anchovy.
and then pull.
Debone an anchovy. Are you fucking kidding me? That
Well,
should have been your test.
But the anchovies are like
Here's a
fairly
hot towel.
large. Theirs aren't like small anchovies.
They're big fatties.
Big.
So like they're
Okay.
pretty big. So you know, like the ones you get in the cans are like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
small.
Yeah.
These were like that.
These are
Oh,
those
okay.
good ones.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're fairly large.
still hard, but not as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long did you do that? And then where?
The visa ran out.
Oh. And then visa.
The visa ran.
So
out.
then what did we do?
So I am Filipino. I went to the Philippines.
Okay. And did you still have family there?
Oh, all my family's there.
All of them.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that
So
one
you
was
stayed
like,
with family.
that one's a lot different than the
Mhm.
first 2 times because the first time I was all by myself,
Mhm.
and then whenever I got to Japan, I was at least with my godfather.
Mhm.
And then in the Philippines, they're like, don't spend money on an apartment or a flat or
Right.
whatever. Like live with your aunt or
Yeah,
whoever.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Live with someone.
Yeah.
And I did that for a little bit.
And where were you working? Where did
So when I first got there, had the hotel experience. So I was like, well,
Mhm.
what's the best hotel in the Philippines right now? It's the Shangri-La. So I went and worked at the Shangri-La, and I did that 3 months to
and
start.
what was your job there?
It's the same. I started off in the commissary, worked my way up to the main kitchen, which ended up being banquets.
Mhm.
So I ran banquets for a while. So,
But you got paid for this job.
this one I got paid
Okay.
for, yeah. So
Mhm.
I worked in, it's called the main kitchen because all of our banquet food came out of there. And we were doing caterings upwards of like, I think on a regular day, we would do 700 on one day. And then when weekends came
700 people.
700 people,
Mhm.
like a 700 people catering.
Mhm.
And then it got to the point where we were running like 3,000.
How many people in that kitchen?
In the main kitchen, that department alone that I was in charge of was like 50.
Okay.
I think 50 cooks.
Okay.
And then the commissary, because labor is so cheap in the Philippines, I guess commissary was like 100 people.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were now making Filipino food.
Yeah.
And is it food that you recognize, or is it new food for you?
Fortunately for me, I'd seen a lot of Filipino food up to
Okay.
that point, but there was a lot of things that I was learning. Like, I just didn't, I'd never heard of that,
Sure.
seen it. It was like, how would I?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, your grandmother was the only one doing that cooking.
And then there are only so often that we would go to a Filipino party here in Tulsa.
Right.
And even then, it's like, here's your pancit,
Mhm.
here's your lumpia. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. But whenever I got to the Philippines, it was like, oh yeah, we're doing all kinds of different stuff. Like they have pares and they have like
Which is what?
that's like a beef soup,
Okay.
and they'll have like calderetas and noodles and afritadas, things like that, which are all hearty stews,
Mhm.
very similar to each other. But the biggest thing that like I got the most excited for was lechon. You'd see lechon all the time,
Which is
a whole roasted pig
Mhm.
with lemongrass and all kinds of stuff. On the
nice.
inside.
So you'd see that at the hotel all the time?
We would have to do one, like because I worked in the main kitchen.
Yeah.
You have to do one. We were doing one every day.
Did you do the pig inside?
We had a spit upstairs.
Okay.
So we would have to transport it
Upstairs. Upstairs inside or
Yeah.
upstairs outside?
on the roof, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
On
So
the roof. Wow.
The roof.
So
Just with
like
the pig on
the-
So you have your take your pig and go up to the
yeah,
roof.
so we take
It's
we'd
a workout.
elevator the pig
Oh, okay.
upstairs, yeah, and then we would take it to the spit, and we'd have one of our cooks just watch it for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
To make a full lechon? It was like the prep and planning for that's like 2 days,
Mhm.
and then the active cooking is 6 hours.
Nice.
So he's just rotating the pig for
6 hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
we got a lechonero, one guy, and so that worked out. That was, I think, my favorite thing that we made was that.
That.
Yeah, because the reaction to it's always crazy. It's like a 100-pound pig that comes on the table.
Yeah.
Oh, you take the whole
Like,
pig to the table.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's like a carving station.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
like when you're coming through the banquet, everybody wants to eat the pig.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
I know.
It's the best.
I feel like I can like smell it.
Yeah.
It's the best. Like
Oh.
hands down the best roast pig you can get. Like fight me.
Have you roasted a whole pig since then?
It's been a while. I haven't roasted a whole pig. No, I've been
Okay.
doing pork bellies. So,
Mm.
like, we can do the same thing.
Mhm.
It's a rotisserie pork belly. It's
Mhm.
just not the whole pig.
It's not the whole
Yeah.
pig.
The whole pig is the best because the head's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you eat everything on the head?
You eat everything in the Philippines. We don't
Yeah.
waste anything.
No.
guys.
I'm asking you.
Yes, I eat everything.
Okay.
Yeah, straight up.
Okay.
I don't waste anything.
You eat the eyeballs.
I'll eat the eyeballs. I'll
everything.
eat the jowls. I'll
Do you
eat
have a
the ears.
favorite part of the head?
Yes, it's the cheek that lines here down to the jowl spot
Mhm.
right here, and then the tender socket back here.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nice.
Wow.
Is it squishy?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's
little
very very flavorful though. It's the best.
Piggy.
Okay.
It's very piggy.
Piggy.
And then we don't waste the brains either. Brains
Okay.
and intestines. We take all that out and use it for other things as well.
Like what?
sauces.
Okay,
So, like
sauces.
the liver sauce that we serve with it. It's
Mhm.
all the innards that come out,
Mhm.
and then we use the brain for like another sauce that you put in the rice.
Okay.
A lot of times we wouldn't use it at the hotel. We just eat it as family meal.
Uh huh.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is brain sweet?
It's a little
I've
sweet.
heard it's
yeah.
sweet.
It's actually quite sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we throw vinegar in there as well. So
To
like,
balance it out.
Yeah, balance.
Yeah.
So, how long were you at this hotel?
That one was a year.
Okay.
So we were there.
So you stayed, and then your visa ran out. No, you didn't have a visa because you're Filipino.
Yeah, I didn't have to worry about
Okay.
that.
So then, what happened in the year?
I miss my family. Yeah.
Well, now because you've been gone, what, like 2.5, 3
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss.
And you're like 16 and a half. So,
It's funny. It's funny. Yeah. No. It was around Thanksgiving time that I was wanting to come home.
okay.
So we were gonna, hey, let's book a flight, go visit family, come home. At the time, I thought I was gonna move back, but then I also thought I was gonna stay. So
Mhm.
I was
You just
really
didn't
up in the
know.
air about what I was.
So
gonna
you
do.
had been gone about 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you came back for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
And what? And
Then what happened?
What happened?
I had a girlfriend once in high school, and
But
yeah,
is that Missy or?
that is my wife now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all what
Yeah,
comes
so-
back to that.
So
So you rekindled your romance when you came back.
yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't intentional. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But during
Doesn't have to.
but during this Thanksgiving trip, you saw her again, and
Yeah, she was looking very good.
and you were like, "Let's get married."
Kind of. It was more like, I don't think I need to be overseas anymore. I think I need to be here now.
Mhm.
And so I didn't know what I was going to do, if I was going to continue on. Like, the burnout for being a chef is kind of real too. So
It's
I was
real.
like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been home a little while.
Mhm.
do I go back? My contract is up. I don't really need to go back there unless I want to go back there.
Contract for where?
Oh, well, you have to have contracts for working at the hotel.
At the hotels. Okay.
Yeah.
So then where did you work here?
After I got back here, I was like, should I go back to school? What should I do? And so I ended up actually like teaching culinary on the side, doing private chef stuff.
Where did you do that?
Just random people. Like I didn't have any like specific broker or anything that I went through.
Okay.
I just did it.
You just
I
did
just
it.
put it out there. I was like, hey, I'm a chef. I can cook for you if you want.
Okay.
And then I ended up working at like the Stone Horse Cafe in Utica Square.
Yeah. Oh, I
Oh,
didn't
of
know that.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked there for a little bit. And,
In the cafe area, though, not in the restaurant. Oh, in the restaurant.
I don't think they had the cafe that
Oh,
far
They
back.
had a market.
The market.
at the
That's
time.
what I was
So,
thinking.
like,
Yeah.
I didn't work in the market. I worked in the restaurant.
Okay.
And like,
What'd you do for Tim?
I started off as his garde. So I
Okay.
made his desserts and his salads.
Okay. So wait, had you made desserts before?
Oh yeah, I had
Because you went through your rotation.
Yeah.
But that was it, right?
Well, I did miss a spot where I was in Italy for a little while. So I did. I was there for. I did.
So where did that fall?
That was right after India.
Okay.
Yeah, before Japan.
Before Japan.
Okay. So did you know someone there?
Yeah, it was the same connection with my uncle. He knew a guy that owned a series of restaurants over there.
So you went there and did pastries.
Yes.
And did you like that?
I loved it. Yeah.
Really?
The pace is a lot more calm.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
different.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
of
And,
course.
I got to live in the space above the restaurant.
That's kind of cool. Was it just you, or were there like 10 other people in your room?
It was just me.
Okay.
Luckily.
So where were you in Italy?
Naples.
Naples. All right.
How long were you there?
Not long. It
Like
was
a couple months?
yeah.
Okay. But you got a kind of feel for pastries and,
Yeah.
and sweets, and you thought, I
I
kind
could
of like
make a
this.
good panna cotta. guys.
Okay.
Hey,
there's,
all right.
there's a lot to be said for that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's some
It's like-
shitty ones out there.
It's a simple one. but
It's so good.
It's
Well,
one of my
but you know,
favorites.
that's the thing. Is simple is hard to do.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
and I think that's one of the big takeaways that I learned from it was like the simpler the food, the better your technique should be.
Mhm.
You know, because like you have to be able to execute that properly.
hmm
And so like I've tried to take all of this information that I'm gathering and technique I'm learning to apply it to what I'm doing now.
So when you came back here and you're working at Stonehorse and you're doing,
Garde manger.
which is dessert and
It's
salads,
dessert.
how long did you do that?
I think it was like 6 months before I was like, I can't.
Escaped.
Working for Tim.
Did you get fired?
I did not.
Oh, good job.
Wow.
Okay, that's good.
Well,
That's
that's
impressive.
very good. Yeah.
But up to that point, I think the harshest chef I'd had to ever work under was an Austrian chef, and he was stern, but he never threw shit at me.
So was Tim like your first
Tim was my first like
intense?
Help
Yeah, like you had to
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
to get out of the way.
I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think that I need this sort of.
We've all. I mean, I've worked for that before too.
Yeah,
It's,
it didn't feel good
Yeah,
to
no,
come to work every day.
no, it doesn't.
No.
and I
it
didn't
doesn't.
like that.
Yeah.
So. And it's crazy to have spent all those years working elsewhere and not have any of that toxicity.
I know. And then I was going to say, and then how is it different when you come to the States
And
and
I
you're in the
come home
kitchen?
and it's, like,
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
It's
Oh,
in your
God.
face.
And
You're
like
this is a lot.
and garnish is not even hard.
Right.
It's like it's cold. There's
Yeah.
no fire.
Yeah,
Nothing,
yeah.
You know.
Like I'm gonna plate a salad and cut a piece of cheesecake.
I also didn't
Yeah.
realize how much salad was going to be like I'd be slinging
Yeah.
in Utica
Is it
Square.
just you?
Yeah.
Is it just a one man
You
job?
just want it. Yeah. So whenever you're working the brigade or the line at Stonehorse, they have 3 people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They got the grill and pizza,
Mhm.
and they have the like saute, and then they have garbage on one
Mhm.
side.
Okay.
And then everybody else works in the back.
Okay. So then where do we go from there?
After that, I think I moved on to in the row. Yeah,
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
you were there for a while.
I was there.
How long were you in the role?
I think that by the time I had moved on from in the row, I'd been there 7 years.
So at that point you were like, I want to get back into sushi.
Yeah, like I'm going back to Asian. That's what I know.
Okay.
Like
Was that like your comfort zone, or was that like what you enjoyed the most?
I think
Because these are all very different things that you've done,
Uh-huh.
and most people, gravitate towards one thing or another.
well, whenever I was choosing what food I wanted to make, it was like, well, what food do I like to eat the
Mm.
most? And
It's important.
it went down to I like curry, I like pasta, I like sushi.
Mhm,
India, Italy, Japan.
Yeah.
And then obviously I love Filipino food. So
mhm.
I went there. And when it came down to, well, what skill set do I have here that I can utilize that would be better served for Tulsa? And there's no Filipino restaurant here.
Well, I was just getting ready to say you are filling a huge void
Yeah.
with Filipino food.
Oh yeah, like I
You
I'd
are
like to think
here,
so. Yeah,
yeah.
because like again, there's no Filipino here.
Mm-mm.
Not no restaurant you can go to. I mean, even as like our food truck,
Yeah.
we get like questions daily. Where are you when we open? What's your like consistent spot? We're trying to like, my favorite is when people from out of state, they're like, we're flying from Arizona. We're going to stop over here in Tulsa. We want Filipino food. Are you guys open today?
And you're like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You're like, no, can't make money that way.
But I really want to be.
So let's talk about that transition, because you worked at sushi. You did sushi for 7 years here at In the Raw. And then you said, fuck it, I'm going to do a food truck. Like,
I had been working like for years.
What's wrong? Do we need to stop? Do we need to start a new one?
What I want to do is
Make this a
2-parter, because we've kind of gotten your beginnings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to tantalize people with the next portion of your program.
Okay.
So,
no more talk. We'll talk in a minute.
So you've listened to or watched the first half of Chef Anthony's journey. So